Listen and see if this feels familiar. Your friends around you are slowly getting tattoos one by one. One person adds a small tattoo on their wrist, another shows off a whole new sleeve they just got done. Scroll through social media for just a while, and it is enough to see that tattoos have almost become a very normal part of modern culture. And what about you? Your skin is still blank, no tattoo, no clear intention to get one. And the strange thing is, in a world where tattoos are seen as normal, the person without tattoos suddenly starts. But what is interesting is that almost everyone likes analyzing why people get tattoos, while very few people stop and ask the opposite question: why are there people who never get tattoos? This question sounds simple, but it actually opens up a very deep psychological layer. Because not getting a tattoo is not always about being conservative, timid, or not daring. Many times it is connected to how a person thinks about time, identity, the way society sees them, and even their own life philosophy. In other words, leaving the skin blank is not always a lack of. The original source gives a very interesting statistic: more than 46% of millennials have at least one tattoo. That means nearly half of an entire generation is carrying a permanent mark on their body. This shows that tattoos are no longer something extremely rebellious or outside the mainstream. They have entered the mainstream. And precisely because tattoos have become so normal, the people who choose not to get them become more psychologically interesting. If you are someone who still has no tattoo and has ever felt slightly out, the first reason lies in a very interesting psychological concept: future self-continuity. Simply put, it is the degree to which you feel that your current self and yourself many years from now are the same person. Some people feel that connection very strongly. They feel that their self 10 years from now will still be fairly continuous with who they are today. But there are also people who feel that their future version is almost like a different person. For this group, a tattoo is not just a beautiful image or this is not necessarily indecision. Very often it is a strong form of future-oriented thinking. Some people are very good at imagining regret before it actually happens. They do not only think, "I like this design right now." They think further. What about 5 years from now? 15 years from now? What if I change deeply? What if I no longer feel connected to this symbol? Psychological research has long shown that personality, life values, aesthetic taste, and the way people see themselves can change significantly over time. For this, the second reason is even more interesting: fluid identity orientation. Some people see themselves as a constantly moving process. They do not think of themselves as something fixed. They see themselves as developing, changing, experimenting, letting go of the old and forming the new. To them, identity is not a statue to be carved into stone. It is more like a flow. And when you see yourself as a flow, it is like trying to capture one version of yourself and asking it to stand still forever, while the thing they believe most deeply. But this is also where we need to be more honest, because this openness is not always only growth. Sometimes it is a sign of real development, but sometimes it can also hide a deeper fear. Fear of commitment, fear of being defined, fear of clearly saying, "This is who I am." The line between keeping yourself flexible and avoiding a clear definition of yourself is very thin. Some people do not get tattoos, but some people do not get tattoos because they do not want to face any statement about themselves at all. If the third reason has more to do with society than with the self-impression management. Even though tattoos are much more common today than before, not everyone looks at them in the same way. Some people are very aware of how a present choice may affect the way they are perceived at work, in relationships, in social environments, or in future paths they cannot yet predict. To them, a tattoo is not only something they like, it is also something other. And when you are someone with a strong need to maintain control over then there is a quieter, more private reason that is rarely talked about: life philosophy. Some people see unmarked skin as a conscious choice, almost like minimalism, not because they are against tattoos, and not because they think tattoos are shallow. They simply hold a different belief that identity lives on the inside and does not need to be symbolized on the outside. They do not need to carve what they love into their skin. They do not need a permanent image to remember how important a certain period was. To them, meaning does not. This is where many cultural biases begin to show. We have become used to the story that tattoos represent depth, personality, experience, and meaning. And yes, for many people they do. But the problem is that from there, society can easily slide into another hidden assumption that not having tattoos means something is missing. Less identity, less depth, less authenticity. But that is completely untrue. Some people carry a great deal of meaning within themselves without carving a single mark onto their body. Not having tattoos does not mean, and perhaps that is the most thought-provoking part. Sometimes what a person does not choose says just as much about them as what they do choose. Not getting a tattoo can reflect the way they think about time, about how they may change in the future, about how much they want to control their self-image, about whether they see identity as something external or internal. And the more you listen, the more you feel that you are not as blank as people assume. Comment the number 9. Because sometimes the absence of an external mark shows that inside a person many psychological layers are still moving. In the end, this is not about saying that people with tattoos or people without tattoos are deeper. The important point is not the ink or the blank skin. It is whether you are making a conscious choice. Are you doing it because you truly want it, truly understand it, and truly feel that it fits you? A tattoo can be very authentic. Skin without any tattoo can also be very authentic. What matters is not the surface. It is the level of awareness and honesty behind that choice. Thank you for watching until the end. If this video helped you see the story of getting or not getting tattoos from a deeper angle, please like and subscribe to the channel. And send it to someone who has been asked, "Why don't you have any tattoos yet?" as if that is something they need to explain.